Sometimes you don't have the perfect color for a particular project. When that happens, I make my own. Hi everybody, and a warm welcome back to Maple Leaf Customs in Switzerland. I'm Andrew, and on the bench today is one of the original Sweet 16 Hot Wheels Redlines from 1968. This is the Hot Heap. I got this just a little while ago in an eBay haul from Australia, and it's not in terribly bad shape for a casting of this age, but would certainly benefit from a makeover, which means a wheel swap and a fresh respray in my SpectraBiC homemade paint. The Hot Heap casting came from two different plants, the US and Hong Kong, and there are several ways to tell the difference between them. In the US casting, the engine was set forward with a round transmission hump at the beginning of production, with the transmission hump becoming square towards the end of the run in 1971. The base was fairly plain, with no details other than the exhaust pipes and the logos. The trunk was shorter on the US version, and the leaf spring on the back was shorter and less detailed. The wheels also had a duller finish to the chrome plating. The US release came with a clear windshield. The Hong Kong casting had an engine that was set back against the firewall. The base was more detailed, with the entire drivetrain molded into it. The chrome on the wheels was shinier, the trunk was longer, and the leaf spring on the back was longer and more detailed. It had a blue-tinted windshield. Looks like I've got the Hong Kong version. I'm simply pulling the old wheels straight off of these bearings. No damage incurred on the axles. These old Redlines require that you use the very finest drill bits and small screws, but I've got a few on hand. I don't know if this green metallic fleck paint is original or not, because it really didn't put up much of a fight. Once down to bare metal, I decided just to work with an abrasive brush, not a brass brush this time. Go all around the casting, and I'm going to follow that up with some 4/0 steel wool. That gives me a very nice finish. Couple of casting lines were spotted. I can take care of those with the tip of one of these fine needle files. All gone. Just nicely into the new year now, as we are, means it's time for the annual Winter in the Wasteland Invitational. There's a Dodge shop truck coming. I've got a 3D printed war elephant in the pipeline. That's something different. You can expect new uploads every Saturday here. I hope you'll get all subbed up and follow along regularly. So, living way over here off the beaten path in Switzerland, it's hard for me to source all of the special SpectraFlame paints usually used on these Redline restorations, so I made up my own, poor man's version. You can watch a video on how I mixed Bic pen ink with some clear coat from a spray can to make SpectraBic paint in various colors. This is purple, and it sprays on beautifully. I'm just using a 0.35mm needle, which atomizes the paint perfectly into a fine spray. You can see for yourself. It comes with its own built-in high-gloss finish, too. According to the Hot Wheels fandom site, the Hot Heap was based on the real-life show car King T, also known as Tognotti's T, which was a modified Model T Roadster, the brainchild of designer Don Tognotti. It was originally built with four-wheel disc brakes, independent rear suspension, front coil springs, and a fuel-injected 283 Chevy engine. This extremely popular show car won several first-place trophies in its day. The real car is currently owned by Hot Wheels collector Bruce Pascal. Speaking of Hot Wheels, it's time to install this new set of replacements. They simply pop onto those bearings and you can use this little tool to properly seat them. Pretty easy. Today's community shout-out, and I'll keep these going in 2026, is for Strangers Diecast on YouTube. As always, I leave a link in the description so that you can easily find your way over there and discover a new channel. About all that's left to do now is to wash up these three small plastic bits that are not going to be repainted. I simply use hot water, a little bit of dish soap, my mother-in-law's toothbrush, and look at that. Right, time to put it all back together now. I didn't need to put a clear coat on that because the SpectraBiC paint is made with clear coat. Replacement wheels on all four corners. The chassis was refurbished. Front grille and headlights are glistening. Here's the newly scrubbed up interior bits, including the engine, which didn't even need re-chroming. It was so nice. And the blue windshield, I think, will be fairly camouflaged against the purple paint job. It's pressure fitted together with the seat, and the two of them slide down into the only position possible, nice and firm. Beauty. Next, the body goes back onto the metal chassis. I give it a little click so that that single post is secure. And a tiny screw to hold it together. Last thing is the engine, and I thought it might need a drop of glue, but it fits in very snugly in the only way that it can. That's not coming out, especially as it'll just be a display piece at home. Whoa! Let's have a closer look. That's the 1968 Hot Heap, resprayed in SpectraBiC purple. I think that was a great successful experiment. A set of replacement wheels on the refurbished chassis. Cleaned up interior bits. And the grille and the headlights from 1968 looking fantastic. Again, it wasn't the worst condition that I've ever seen for a casting of that age, but I really wanted to try my new homemade paints, and this was the maiden voyage for SpectraBiC. Leave a respectful comment below and let me know how you think that turned out. I'm very pleased with it in the end. I'm trying to work my way through the Sweet 16 cars. That's only about number 3, so I've got a ways to go. Thanks for visiting again today. I really do appreciate you following. Drive carefully. It's coffee time.